Yeah, that will be my phrase for this speech, for this presentation. For the first time also, the paper one scores entered by CXC and NDMA were cross-checked for accuracy of inputting the scores and hence obtaining totals for paper 1 and 2 per candidate. This process was undertaken by CXC's chiefs and assistant chiefs, and they're among us, and their team of support staff. For the first time, NDMA and CXC communicated and forwarded data, sensitive data, directly to each other in an encrypted and password format. This new measure ensured integrity and protection of sensitive data. Chair, I would do myself an injustice and the MOE team and the candidates whom would have benefited if I do not detail yet another new initiative. Prior to this year, NGSA candidates who were older than 12 years, 6 months at the time stated, that is March of the examination year, they were penalized by incurring a reduction in their standardized scores. It meant that once a candidate was older than 12 years, 6 months at March of the examination year, they would not have been able to attain a certain level of secondary school at the placement process. This was stopped and changed this year, so that every candidate writing these examinations have an equal and fair chance to earn a school based on the marks attained at the test. In addition to the standardized process, or the standardization process, scores were standardized by subjects and totals for paper 1 and 2, unlike previous years where paper 1 and 2 scores for math and English were standardized separately. Also, the standardized scores for each subject will be given a decimal, or as a decimal, and the total score will be rounded to the nearest whole number. What impact does that have on the results of a candidate? Well, we as the Ministry of Education would have been reliably informed and given examples and demonstrations by NDME showing the previous method and process of standardization would have denied or caused candidates to be placed at a school other than what the actual marks attained would have entitled them. This was changed, or rather corrected, as of this year. At the end of all of the above, the entire process bore the stamp and approval, validity and transparency and integrity of CXC, an internationally recognized examining body in testing and measurement, and fully endorsed by the Ministry of Education, Guyana. I am pleased to say, Chairperson, as I stand before you in this, the first year as an Assistant Chief Education Officer for exams, and say without fear of contradiction that this year's NGSA was conducted fully by CXC, a partner and stakeholder in education. These examinations bear the same standards and quality of other examinations such as CAPE, CSEC, and CCSLC, managed and administered by CXC, marked and processed with the highest degree of professionalism, transparency, and integrity. Thank you very much. Chair, if you may permit me just to deviate a bit off my presentation, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate not only those NGSA candidates who are here, but every single one of the 13,800 plus that wrote the examinations. Congratulations. You have made a big step and you have achieved you have taken the first step successfully because you have overcome the adverse conditions of COVID-19 and actually went out to write the examinations. Congratulations, and thank you very much here.
Thank you, Mr. Amirali. ACU exams. 2021 seems to have been the year of many firsts. So, Mr. Ali, I hope your shoulders are broad enough, because what you have set in 2021 are very high standards for the years to come. Thank you very much for that in-depth presentation. Next on the program, we will be hearing from an individual directly from CXC. She will be giving us the 2021 examination report. This individual is Dr. Nicole Manning, who is the Director of Operations at CXC. Just a little bit about Dr. Manning. Dr. Manning possesses a Doctor of Education in Organization Leadership from the Nova Southeastern University in Florida. She has a Master of Science in Computer-Based Management Information Systems, has a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and Management from the University of the West Indies, Mona Campus. She also holds a postgraduate diploma in education from the University of Technology and a postgrad certificate in risk management. Like a piece of jigsaw puzzle, this professional fits perfectly in the structure of CXC. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Manning to the podium.
Our moderator for this morning, Mr. Marty D'Souza. Honorable Minister, Dr. I thought I saw the doctor yesterday. Priya Manekshan, Minister of Education. Mr. Amir Ali, Assistant Chief Education Officer Examinations, Ministry of Education. Dr. Wayne Wesley, Registrar and CEO of CXC. Mrs. Saudia Kadir Grant, Local Registrar for the Ministry of Education. Permanent Secretary King, Ministry of Education. Our colleagues from CXC who may be online. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to say good morning. A special good morning to our students who I'm seeing in the audience. I know you did a lot of work along with your teachers and your parents. So this is indeed a very important day for you. So a special good morning to you too. So before I begin, Mr. Ali would have outlined the process that would have been executed this year for the NGSA. And yes, we did have a few firsts, and quality assurance is always very important. And so the additional components will augur well as we would have endorsed everything that would have happened in relation to the release of these results. So let me begin by giving you an overview. Firstly, in relation to the summary of the registration 2021 examinations and the results of these 2021 examinations. So for 2021, across your 11 regions, Region 4, you would have had 2,873 candidates registered. the largest region, I'm seeing in terms of registration, and Region 11 directly behind. Important to note, and I think this is no strange news to you, is the ratio of female-male distribution. And it is interesting that it is showing almost equal, 6,814 females and 7,008 males. So the total that would have been mentioned by Mr. Ali previously would have been the 13,822. So that many candidates would have done the examination this year. So let me go straight into the results for social studies, and I'll give you further details regarding our ranking and other pieces of information. So for social studies this year, we saw an overall percentage performance increase to 56.3%. In previous years, you would have had a low of 37.22 in 2019, and other years, a much larger number. Important to note would be the candidate scoring full or 0 marks for social studies. And this is something that we will be sharing throughout. Why is this important? It is very important from the perspective that in every one of the exams, you would have had candidates scoring at both ends. And so just as how most times we are very interested in the high performers, I am sure the Ministry of Education is just as interested in the low performers and would want to make sure that the necessary improvements are put in place, necessary strategies to ensure that these students are brought up to par. So I will share given that context. So for this year, social studies would have had the highest number of candidates scoring full marks for social studies and the lowest number of candidates scoring 0 marks for social studies. English. For English, we're seeing the highest performance for English this year also, a high of 65.71 in comparison to the low that would have been experienced in 2019, 57.45. These candidates, as I would have mentioned before, we are looking at all the persons who would have accepted what we call at CXC acceptable grades. For candidates scoring full or 0 marks for English, we had a very significant increase here to 142 candidates scoring full marks for English, and increase in the number of candidates scoring 0. Not a great increase, but an increase. So that's also important to note. For mathematics, we had the lowest performance for math this year, 36.5. It was the highest in 2019 at 42%, 42.04%. For the candidates scoring full marks, we had 1 candidate scoring full marks for 2021, and we had 10 candidates scoring 0 marks. So while it was not the highest over the last 4 years, it is indeed, I'm sure, something that the ministry will be managing. For science, science would have seen the lowest performance over the last 4 years, average 40.12%, from a high of 46.84 in 2018. For 0 marks, full marks, we had 1 candidate scoring full marks in science this year and 9 candidates scoring 0 marks, similar to 2018. Now, this may be new, I'm not sure if it is, but I believe it is something that we thought at CXC it would be important to share, is the quartile ranking. So the quartile ranking shows the performance of candidates in the particular subjects. But this year I'm going to be looking at the gender component. So every year we can take a different flavor and we can share that kind of information. But this is relative, I must say, to the candidate population. Now what is important about this and very interesting is, remember I would have shown you where we almost had an equal ratio, male and female, for the 13,822 candidate population sitting the examinations. Interesting to note that for this first quartile ranking, this represents average performance below 75% of the candidate population, and we are seeing where 2,281 males fall within this category and 1,176 females. Now I want you to note the number of candidates for each quartile ranking. I found this very phenomenal. For the second ranking, you're noticing 3,459 candidates. The gender distribution is a bit equal here. So you're seeing 1,664 males and 1,795 females performing below 50% of the candidate population. For the third quartile ranking, we had 1,518 males performing better than 50% of the candidate population and 1,938 females performing better than 50% of the candidate population. For the top, this is where we're looking at candidates performing better than 75%. We had 1,908 females performing better than 75% of the candidate population and 1,547 males performing better than 75% of the candidate population. So in terms of the top performers by gender, we had 7 females and 3 males falling within this particular category. Important to note is the general overall performance across subjects for 2021. So just to put it into perspective, we want to share that English would have had the highest and best performance for 2021. For social studies would have had the second best performance. My apologies. Science 40.1% and math 36.5%. Critical to note also is the comparative overall performance across subjects 2018-2021. So notably for mathematics, the best year would have been 2019 at a high of 42%. For English, 2021 would have been the best performing year at a high of 65.7%. And for social studies, you would have seen 2021 having the highest performance at 56.3%. And for science, you'd be seeing 2018 having the best performance at 46.8%. Now, what is also very important is to note over the last 4 years, you would have had a variation in the performance across subjects. So if we were to look at 2018, you would have seen where English would have been the best performing subject for 2018. For 2019, you're seeing where you would have had English again being the best performing subject. Likewise for the other 2 years. Now that's notable for the Ministry of Education. Likewise, and similarly I would say, the variation in the performance and having the lowest performance for all years, mathematics, except 2018. 2018, mathematics actually performed the best, while for 2018, social studies would have been the lowest performing subjects. So it's very important to understand the analytics behind this and to look at strategies to make sure that we have improvements in all 4 subjects. So this gives a synopsis of the performance, not only the registration summary for the year, but the performance of all the candidates and the candidate population for the examinations in the NGSA for 2021 and previous years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manning, for that very detailed report. Well, we now know the amount of work that we have to do, so all our teachers, all our schools who are live streaming us, the task is great ahead. We're going to have a little break from all the speeches and be entertained by Logan Simpson, who will be serenading us with a song today. Please let's welcome Logan Simpson. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, little Logan Simpson. Just a little bit about Logan, so that you may know he's a 12-year-old singer and instrumentalist who attends the New Guyana School, and his piece he performed was A Million Dreams. Thank you very much, little Logan, for that piece. As we move on with the program, we will now be hearing from our feature speaker today. And just an introduction. Our feature speaker is a daughter of the soil. She certainly goes beyond herself to create what some may consider to be a utopia. But it's not impossible. She has been the driving force behind the education sector. An education sector that is barrier-free and as equitable to all Guyanese. Our feature speaker today has under her belt the caps of 3 ministers first as a Minister of Human Services and Social Security, then Minister of Education, and now she's back on her third round and second round as Minister of Education. She has had many notable accomplishments in services past and present. Returning as Minister of Education in 2020, she has already made an impact on those she served. Through providing pathways for the aggressive upskilling of teachers and the use of ICT to promote distance education delivery, through the innovative Profuturo program and other initiatives, through the provision of student resources for supervised or self-study, as seen through the refashioning of the Guyana Learning Channel, the only TV channel dedicated to education content delivery, through the creation of localized and curriculum-aligned study packages for learners, preloaded tablets for learners in the most remote pockets of our country. She launched the 2020-2025 education policy that aims to deliver universal secondary education. She has set the goals of having only trained teachers in the classrooms, and as such, she has moved to taking CPCE online, both as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as to have more teachers trained per annum. The launching of the GOAL program that provides 20,000 plus opportunities for online tertiary learning is also a sign of a perseverance in getting Guyana to where we want it to be. Most recently, the Commonwealth bestowed her with the well-deserved title of Wise Woman, reserved for women of vision who have dedicated their lives to servant leadership globally. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as we welcome the Honorable Minister, Dr. Priya Manikchan, to the podium.
Thank you, Marty, for that very warm welcome. We have as guests here Dr. Wayne Wesley, the Registrar and CEO of CXC, and you just heard from Dr. Manning. They're no stranger to Guyana, but they're new to today's program and today's activity at NGSA. And that is because this year we made special efforts to make sure CXC ran the entire program of NGSA and managed it. I'm not sure if you know how this started. We started this conversation sometime around 2013 about getting a professional examining body to conduct our exams, set them, mark them, bring the professionalism to them, because what we were seeing were results that didn't match professional measurement and evaluation. One year it would be high, and the next year it would be low, and the graph was not consistent at all. And CXC is the CARICOM body that has all the expertise in this. And that started in 2016. CXC began in 2016 to prepare, well, set the exams, supervise them, mark them. This year, because they've been so good, we've expanded their role. And because I believe it is necessary, if we are going to say that CXC is doing something and managing something, that they must be given the full length. So this year, the role has been expanded and not contracted. So CXC has set the exam, CXC has supervised the exam, marked the exam. CXC has conducted the quality checks that used to be done only by our NSERD, and CXC will be doing any review that is applied for, not NSERD. So this year, CXC takes the exam from the top to the bottom. And we believe that is truly the only way we can say they're here. I think CXC, you should read that to mean that the better you get, the more work you'll get. Before I begin what I know everyone is waiting for, to hear the names of these students, I want to pause and say this has been a hard, hard year for education all over the world. It has been a hard year for parents. It has been a worrying year for teachers. It has been an anxiety-inducing year for children. We did not know, first of all, what a pandemic was when this one hit. We didn't realize it would last this long. We didn't know we would lose family members. We didn't know we'd be in grief. We didn't know that the basic things that we're accustomed to in this warm, sunny, tropical Guyana, going outside, playing with friends, having birthday parties, coming over, we didn't realize that all of that would be so severely interrupted. And that has had an impact. It has had an impact on everybody. We know that schools were closed since March 2020. And these children who wrote this exam the last time they were in face-to-face contact with a teacher was in grade 5. Grade 5. They never saw a teacher for grade 6. Well, I'm coming to that in a minute. And we saw how parents gathered themselves up, pulled themselves together, and started doing much more than we ever thought we'd have to do as parents. And I know teachers who broke all the rules. All the rules. The ministry had all these rules. You can't go into school. You can't be face-to-face. And teachers, as love for children, who knew that this online business isn't working, broke all the rules, carried their children in without their uniform, and told us they were marking books while they were teaching. I see that as an act of love for those children. And we had people trying very hard. This is the year we had to innovate in education. This is the year, the worst year possible in a long, long time, is the year we produce the most. Every single child, if you're in the public school, you'll know what I'm talking about, from Crowdar in Region 9 to Hosororo in Region 1. If you were in grade 6, you got every single textbook you needed. Every single textbook you needed, past papers and worksheets. This is the year we created a television program for every single topic that is likely to be tested, and had a teacher teaching online. And we put that on TV, and we put that online. This is the year we put together questions and posted them online so that students could answer them and get the results immediately so that they could see where they're going wrong. This is the year we consolidated the curriculum so that instead of 40 weeks, we consolidated a 40-week curriculum into 20 weeks and said, this is what we're going to be testing you on. This is the year we innovated, and so human beings are resilient. COVID will never win, and things like COVID will never win, and that is because we will always stand up, face down challenges we have. There is nothing like can't, and we will rise up from this. So to the parents, to the teachers, and to the students who helped show this country and this world that we can innovate around challenges, that we can beat problems, I thank you, and today I celebrate you. In this year, we saw many firsts. And before I begin, I want to recognize, because I don't know where in this program, well, this is also the year that we walked school to school, much to the displeasure of some schools. Well, not the teachers, but to some boards and PTAs, not all. And we tried to find as many spaces as possible in the schools so that we could remove children from what we know as primary tops. So where originally the ministry would award 120 seats to the coveted Queen's College, this year 167 children will go into Queen's College. Where before 100 children would go to Bishops, this year 145 children will go to Bishops. Where before 100 children would go to St. Stanislaus, this year 120 children will go to St. Stanislaus. Because St. Rose's is under construction, we can't put any more children there right now. Where before 100 children would go to St. Joseph's, this year 150 children would go to St. Joseph's. Where before 75 children would go to New Amsterdam Maltese, this year 175 children will go to New Amsterdam Maltese. Where before 100 and something children would go to Berbice High, this year it's increased by about 4 to 5 students. We're trying very hard to make space. And because we have walked school to school and done that, and we're not just throwing the children in and say, here, take them. We're making sure they have furniture and textbooks and teachers and everything else they need to accommodate those larger numbers. We're able to move 1,600 children out of primary tops. Do you know what a primary top is? So we're fighting at the top for QCs and bishops and saints, and I saw a conversation there that's very unpleasant, by the way, about which child got which school. A primary top is where there is no space. The government doesn't have any space to put you in a secondary school. So you finish primary school, you go back to the primary school, and we call it a secondary program. It's not conducive to secondary education. This year, we're giving 1,600 children a better chance. And this year, we are beginning, and I commit to you personally, myself, and all that I have, and all these officers here have committed it, that no longer will you will be able to have an enriching, fulfilling, solid education at any secondary school you go to, because that will be our effort. We're dedicating ourselves to that. And we're dedicating ourselves to that with vigor. So I'm not talking to you about 20 years down the line. I'm talking to you about now. We are beginning it now, and you will see changes in secondary education that will mean that you're not a failure if you didn't get one of these top schools. But I want to say this to the children particularly, and the parents who are listening. This year, we have 175 seats at QC, Queen's College, because we started a whole new classroom there and we're building out some more space. But you will see only 167 students placed there. And I want you to listen to me carefully. And the reason you will see only 167 children is because when we cut off at 5:10, 167 children reach that place. When we go to 5:09, it is 29 children more. 29 children are tying for that one mark. The child who did not get QC didn't get QC because they're not bright. They didn't get QC because we couldn't fit 29 more children in there. Do you understand what I'm saying? At St. Rose's, we would have liked to put 100 children. The cutoff is, the cutoff, I believe, for St. Rose's this year is 498. At 498, it's 97 children. So we have space for 3 more. But if we go to 497, it becomes 136 children. 39 children are tying for that one spot. And I want to speak to the children here, particularly, and the parents. If you got a good school, you're lucky, but you're not better than the other child who didn't get the school you got. You had a good day. And if you look at these, because and I'm talking about personal experience here, where people come up and tell me, but hold on a second here, and I want to be real with you this morning. These two children used to work neck and neck all the time. How come this one get in the top 10? I wasn't pointing at you, but how come this one get in the top 10 and my child is still in 23 or 24? It takes a single mark to do that. So you're still working neck and neck, but it took a single mark because you're no longer competing in your classroom. You are competing with the child you never saw in Rupenau. She's here today. In Aishalton, who you might have discounted as not being able to do what you're doing. In that room, anything could happen. A mark up, a mark down, 2 marks here, 2 marks there. You saw it. In our worst year, we have the best score in social studies and English. The English people checked back several times. They couldn't believe they were doing so well. I'm saying different circumstances bring out different things. And so let us understand that when we're dealing with these results. And I hope the parents of the children who are here will see it as an extra burden to make sure your children are accommodating of their classmates who did not get the schools they aimed for. Fine, so I can now, before I begin, I want to recognize, so the way they have structured this for me to do is the top 10 children of every region, and then the national top 10 children. And I want to specifically recognize a little girl from Berbice whose parents are both teachers. And I met her. She's an artist. She's very accomplished. She does poetry and so on. And she was in grade 5, not grade 6. And her parents said, we think she's ready. Because she has been home, she's finished this curriculum. And we think it would be harmful to her if we were to keep her a whole extra year in grade 6 doing the same thing. And it was a little bit of a hard question for me because here on one hand, we're asking parents to be very involved in their children's lives. And when these parents got involved and now tell me what they want, I want to put them in some box that the ministry has and says, no, you must reach grade 6. So I said to them, there's a consequence to that. If you write it in this year, you have to take what you get. You can't get a second chance because we don't allow second chances, particularly because of space issues and so on. And she wrote it in this year, and she got the Bishop's High School. And her name is Nitya Narayan. So I'd ask Nitya to stand. She's right here from the Newmarket Primary in Berbice. And I suspect that because we might have given you an edict for one parent. She's here with her father, Mr. Narayan. His first name, I'm not sure. So Nitya, you did very well and showed that we could individualize education more in the country. So take your seat, please. So for the top students, and if you are here, because we made some efforts to get students out. If you're here, I'll ask you to stand if you hear your name. From Region 1, Troy Roberts. From Port Kaituma Primary with 508 marks going to the Bishop's High School. Tobias Chacon from Hosororo Primary with 500 marks going to St. Rose's High. Onisa Pang from Mabaruma Primary with 496 going to St. Joseph's High. Bobeto Castello from Hosororo Primary with 493, going to Northwest Secondary. Celia Rodriguez from Santa Rosa Primary, 491, going to Santa Rosa Secondary. James Chappell, Santa Rosa Primary with 488, going to Santa Rosa Secondary. Giselle Atkinson from Santa Rosa Primary, 488, going to Santa Rosa Secondary. Jermaine DeSantos from St. Mary's Primary, 487, going to Northwest Secondary. Malachi Bennett, Port Kaituma Primary, 484, going to Port Kaituma Secondary. And Mitchell Gomes from Hosororo Primary, 484, going to Northwest Secondary. From Region 2, Shreya Ramnarayan. Is Region 2 here? Shreya Ramnarayan from C.V. Nunes Primary, 517, going to Queen's College. Bhavin Griffith from Hoostadarin Primary, 516, going to Queen's College. Aisha Mohammed from Al Madina Islamic Primary with 510, going to Queen's College. Jessica Innes from Fisher Primary with 510, going to Queen's College. Lukesh Dionarain from Taymouth Manor Primary with 509, going to the Bishop's High School. Karishma Danupdari from C.V. Nunes Primary with 508, going to the Bishop's High School. Jada Welcome from Aurora Primary with 508, going to the Bishop's High School. So I'm sure Jada's parents wouldn't mind, but I'm pausing here to say Jada left a private school in Georgetown, went because of family, to live with family in Essequibo, and she still did well in a public school. Bhavani Gangu, C.V. Nunes Primary, 507, the Bishop's High School. Isara Prasad, C.V. Nunes Primary, 504, St. Stanislaus College. Kaishina Singh, Taymouth Manor Primary, 504, St. Stanislaus College. Nishana Dayal, Hoostadarin Primary, 504, St. Stanislaus College. Region 3. Giselle Nicholson, Lenora Primary, 520, Queen's College. ZG Yang, Academy of Excellence, 519, Queen's College. Aliyah Hanif, Academy of Excellence, 518, Queen's College. Malia Marcelo, Leonora Primary, 518, Queen's College. Gisela Williams, Genesis Early Childhood, 517, Queen's College. Rayoud Khan, Lenora Primary, 517, Queen's College. Is Rayoud here? Did you bring him? He is here. Oh. Rishon Ula, Kayim Academy, 516, Queen's College. Rebecca Joseph, Vive La Force Primary, 516, Queen's College. Malachi Patrick, Academy of Excellence, 516, Queen's College. Yushini Kumar, Genesis Early Childhood, 515, Queen's College. Emily Vamunde Beria, Crane Primary, 515, Queen's College. Caitlin Passad, Lagrange Primary, 515, Queen's College. Region 4. Region 4 is separate from Georgetown. Region 4 addresses the East Bank and the East Coast. Nirvana Wimal, Success Elementary, 524, Queen's College. There she is. Paris Timmerman, Chateau Margaux Primary, 523, Queen's College. Jada Passad, Success Elementary, 522, Queen's College. Jaquel White, Success Elementary, 521, Queen's College. Joshua MacArthur Vrijdslas, Vrijdslas Primary, 521, Queens College. Shabaka Yisrael, Success Elementary, 521, Queens College. Morvin Baron, Success Elementary, 520, Queens College. Malia Ramprasad, Success Elementary, 520, Queens College. Ariel Williams, Success Elementary, 519, Queens College. Anna Singh, Enmore Hope Primary, 519, Queens College. Raj Datta, Enmore Hope Primary, 519, Queens College. Anaya Benjamin, Enmore Hope Primary, 519, Queens College. Region 5, Tiana Hughes, Rosignol Primary, 511, Queens College. Mia Jamir, Bath Primary, 509, the Bishop's High School. Jada Todd, Sapadilla School of Excellence, 506, the Bishop's High School. Ram David Mortis Primary, 506, the Bishop's High School. Kimraj Pitum, Sapadilla School of Excellence, 505, the Bishop's High School. Mohammed Hussein, Sapadilla School of Excellence, 504, St. Stanislaus College. Hemraj Lekram, Mortis Primary, 504, St. Stanislaus College. Jaden Alfred, Lachman Singh Primary, 504, St. Stanislaus College. Indrani Ramotar, Bath Primary, 502, St. Stanislaus College. Matana Bipat, number 29 Primary, 502, St. Stanislaus College. Region 6, Rafael Omarao, Skeldon Primary, 518, Queens College. Sarah Manu, Cumberland Primary, 517, Queens College. Maya Hari, Newmarket Primary, 516, Queens College. Vishun Basdeo, Rose Hall Estate Primary, 513, Queens College. Jada Danpat, Skeldon Primary, 512, Queens College. Rihanna Lewis, Port Moran Primary, 512, Queens College. Miranda Adams, All Saints Primary, 512, Queens College. Anne-Marie Sukra, Cropper Primary, 511, Queens College. Charita Jaggernaut, Tain Primary, 511, Queens College. C.L. Clement, All Saints Primary, 511, Queens College. Jameer Grant, St. Aloysius Primary, 511, Queens College. Region 7, Sebastian Khan, Potaro Primary, 495, St. Joseph's High. Sebastian is here. Rolikisa Van Kennick, St. John the Baptist Primary, 489, 3 Miles Secondary. Kimora Edwards, Camarang Primary, 484, DC Caesar Fox Secondary. Priya Edwards, Kako Primary, 483, DC Caesar Fox Secondary. Sabina Albert, Parima Primary, 481, DC Caesar Fox Secondary. Jarrell Ben, Potaro Primary, 477, 3 Miles Secondary. Felicia Jacobs, 72 Miles Primary, 477, 3 Miles Secondary. Kimberly Wong, St. John the Baptist Primary, 477, 3 Miles Secondary. Bendito McKend, St. John the Baptist Primary, 474, 3 Miles Secondary. Alicia Joe, Warmadong Primary, 473, DC Caesar Fox Secondary. I'm going to pause here to ask you, are you freezing? Because if the answer is yes, we could actually you are freezing. Because I am too. I could barely feel my fingers. Could we turn that off for a little bit, please? Region 8. Ishmael LaCruz from Madhya Primary, 504 St. Stanislaus College. And I understand Ishmael is on Zoom with us. Lamar Thomas, Madhya Primary, 493, Madhya Secondary. Genesis Daniels, School of Excellence, 482, Madhya Secondary. Amber Gildari, Madhya Primary, 479, Madhya Secondary. Diona Stanislaus, Monkey Mountain Primary, 478, Paramakatoy Secondary. Ashana Lewis, Tusaneng Primary, 478, Paramakatoy Secondary. Isaiah Rigby, Madhya Primary, 474, Madhya Secondary. Karina Boldinovic, Paramakatoy Primary, 470, Paramakatoy Secondary. Lloyd Brown, Paramakatoy Primary, 462, Paramakatoy Secondary. Valane King, Monkey Mountain Primary, 462, Paramakatoy Secondary. Yvonne Kenfume, Monkey Mountain Primary, 462, Paramakatoy Secondary. Region 9. Aisha De Freitas, Arapaima Primary, 517, Queen's College. And I'm going to pause here to tell you something, and these are the stories that inspire us. Aisha left Rupanau. This is what her sister told me. Rupanau was deep in the interior. She left Rupanau to come to Arapaima, which is closer to Lethem, and she's living with guardians there because Rupanau doesn't have any trained teachers, and she thought she'd have a better chance with trained teachers. So, sister, with the trained teachers and the textbooks that she had, you see what we can do anywhere in this country. Kellon Jordan, Crowdar Primary, 507, the Bishop's High School. I bet most people don't know where Crowdar is, and they can't spell it. Leandro Marcelo, Aishalton Primary, 505, the Bishop's High School. Jason James, Aishalton Primary, St. Stanislaus College. Rachel Davis, Toka Primary, 500, St. Rose's High. Rion Fred, Aishalton Primary, 499, St. Rose's High. Leandre Williams, Arapaima Primary, 493, St. Ignatius Secondary. Keon Jordan, Crowdar Primary, 491, Aishalton Secondary. Kaiwino Haynes, Quatamang Primary, 489, Anai Secondary. Daniel Alexander, Katunarib Primary, 489, Sand Creek Secondary. Region number 10, Akira Campbell, Watuka Day Primary, 518, Queen's College. Is she here? Aaliyah Anthony, Regma Primary, 516, Queen's College. Angel Henry, Regma Primary, 516, Queen's College. Malia Wilson, Amelia's Ward Primary, 514, Queen's College. Nikesi Hodge, Amelia's Ward Primary, 512, Queen's College. Lakeisha Venture, Royal Halls of Learning, 511, Queen's College. Shanice Duncan, Watuka Day Primary, 510, Queen's College. Angel Saul, Regma Primary, 510, Queen's College. Tia Sampson, 1 Mile Primary, 509, Bishop's High School. Joshua Purnell, Amelia's Ward Primary, 508, the Bishop's High School. Jalicia Douglas, Regma Primary, 508, the Bishop's High School. Tier McIntosh, Royal Halls of Learning, 508, the Bishop's High School. And Region 11, which we, in the Ministry of Education, it's Education District, it's actually Georgetown. Deja Dat, New Guyana School, 523, Queen's College. Deja's here. Aditi Joshi, Mays Under 12, 521, the youngest child in her class, Queen's College. Kevin Sandy, Lowe's Academy, 521, Queen's College. Chelsea Prasad, Dharmic Ramakrishna, 521, Queen's College. Ethan Major, Green Acres Primary, 520, Queen's College. Arya Murley, Mays Under 12, 520, Queen's College. Malia Baharali, Mays Under 12, 520, Queen's College. Rihanna London, New Guyana School, 520, Queen's College. Anushka Singh, Marian Academy, 519, Queen's College. Justin Goberdan, Mays Under 12, 519, Queen's College. Dolly-Ann Holder, Graham's Hall Primary, 519, Queen's College. Azara Mohammed, Mays Under 12, 519, Queen's College. Cassia Duki, Mays Under 12, 519, Queen's College. Cassidy Singh, St. Ambrose Primary, 519, Queen's College. Cassidy, and I'm sure her parents would not mind because they're very involved parents, left a private school, took their children to a public school, and they'll all do well. Their parents are very involved. Risa Langevine, Green Acres Primary, 519, Queen's College. So these here about details of the candidates securing the top 10 places are indicated below. The top position was gained by Nirvana Wimal of Success Elementary with a score of 524 marks. Second position was shared by Paris Timmerman of Chateau Margaux Primary and Deja Dat of the New Guyana School with 523 marks each. Jada Passad of Success Elementary secured the fourth position with 522 marks. 6 candidates shared the fifth position with 521 marks. They are Aditi Joshi, stand, of Mays Under 12, Joshua MacArthur of Rideslust Primary, Shabaka Yisrael and Jaquel White, both of Success Elementary, Kevin Sandy, or it might be Kevin Sandy, of Lowe's Academy, and Chelsea Prasad of Dharmic Ramakrishna. To all the students here, we at the Ministry of Education offer you the warmest congratulations. To all of the children who are going to log in later in the day to get your results, I believe you can log in at 1 o'clock, from 1 o'clock, to get your results online. We offer you the warmest congratulations. This is the beginning of a new chapter. Wipe the slate clean. If you're not happy with how you performed, here is your chance to do all you want to do in high school. And I ask you for it not to be just an academic experience. Enjoy the journey, learn your friends, learn new things. Happy high school life, and may the good Lord bless you all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And so I join with all in the Ministry of Education in congratulating our top performers and all those children who would have done well, and of course those who did not do too well, to say congratulations also for making it this far. I'm particularly proud of the Hinterland students, and we are glad that we could have brought some of you out. I think only Region 8. We were not able to get you out, however, you are with us through Zoom, so I want to congratulate you all. We know the challenges in the hinterland. There's so much more than the challenges we face out on the coastland. And for you to do so well, that is certainly a feather in our hat, and one that can only get better. At this point in the program, we will be entertained once more, this time by a dance, which will be done by a teacher, Miss Aisha Gittins, who is also a member of the National Dance Company. So let us welcome Miss Aisha to entertain us with this dance. If someone can indicate to us if we'll be having a dance. In the meantime, just after the dance, we will be hearing from two of the students, of the pupils who wrote the National Grade 6 exam, and they will be reading for us the best essays, the best letter, and the best essay. So that will be coming up just after this. So those pupils, we want to just put you on standby.
Catch a shooting star. soul. Ever felt like you were dreaming, just to find that you're awake, and the magic that surrounds you can lift you up and guide you on your way. I can see it in the stars across the sky. Dreamt 100,000 dreams before, now I finally realize. You see, I've waited all my life for this moment to arrive, and finally I believe. When you look out in the distance, you see it never was that far. Oh no, heaven knows your existence, and wants you to be everything you are. Oh, there's a time for every soul to fly. It's in the eyes of every child. It's the hope that love can save the world, and oh, we should never let it die. Dreamed 100,000 dreams before, now I finally realize. You see, I've waited all my life for this moment to arrive, and finally, I believe in the impossible. If I reach deep within my heart, overcome the obstacle, won't let this dream just fall apart. You see, I strive to be the very best, shine my light for all to see. 'Cause anything is possible. Oh, when you now I finally realize. You see, I've waited all my life for this moment to arrive, and finally I believe. Oh yeah, I believe. Oh yeah, yeah. I believe that love keeps lifting me higher, higher,
Thank you very much, teacher Ashia Gittins of St. Gabriel's Primary, for doing that piece, Aspirations. We're now going to move to the reading of the best letter, followed by the best essay, best narrative. So at this time, I'm going to invite to the podium to read the best letter, Michaela Spencer of Success Elementary. Please welcome Michaela Spencer.
Good morning, everyone. My letter reads as follows. Regional Education Officer, Ministry of Education, Lot 61, Brickdam, Greater Georgetown, Guyana. Dear Miss, I would like to bring to your immediate attention the need for a learning resource center in my community, Patterson Turkine. I would be delighted if you would grant me the honor of listing 3 reasons why we urgently need this particular infrastructure in my community. First and foremost, we as children have adapted to online learning due to the pandemic. However, there has been a decrease in the number of children attending their classes. One reason for that being because some families cannot afford internet access. However, if you were to install this learning facility, children will be able to attend their online classes and obtain adequate education. In addition, not only can families afford internet access, but some also cannot afford textbooks, causing them to lag behind on their schoolwork. As a result, many children have been getting less grades than expected of them. However, were you to put this learning resource center in place, both primary and secondary will be able to benefit from textbooks in both the library and online resources. Last but most certainly not least, many children are now more dependent on mobile devices, for example, phones, tablets, iPads, and phablets. Parents are starting to worry because their children have not been reading and going outdoors unless necessary. However, if you install these learning facilities, parents can be rest assured that their child or children will be reading with enjoyment while learning. I sincerely hope that the reasons listed were very encouraging, so as to promote the construction of this facility. I anticipate a quick and positive response. Yours respectfully, Michaela Spencer.
I think we should probably employ her as one of our letter writers at the Ministry of Education. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Michaela Spencer. And now for the best narrative. Gabrielle Felix of New Guyana School. Please welcome Miss Gabrielle as she comes to read the best narrative.
Good morning, everyone. An unforgettable experience. Fear lent wings to my legs as I heard a ferocious growl. My heart was palpitating and I was panting in exhaustion. I had never been so scared in my life. Just then, something snapped at my heels. I quickly glimpsed behind me, only to see a fierce black pit bull rapidly gaining on me. Putting an extra burst of speed, I sped around the corner. Frantically, I glanced around. Observing a colossal tree, I ascended it with the speed and agility of a squirrel. From where I was perched, I could see the vicious dog growling and baring his dagger-like fangs. I shuddered at the thought of those razor-sharp teeth sinking deep into my flesh. Suddenly, I heard an alarming snap behind me. Oh no! A cry of fear emanated from my throat as the feeble branch broke from under my weight and I crashed to the ground. The branch hit the pit bull on its head and he fell to the ground, giving a loud thud. The dazed dog was whimpering in pain, and I too was disoriented, but I was still the first to recover. Scrambling to my feet, I bolted down the road like a cat with its tail on fire. As I entered my yard, I slammed the gate and hurried inside. Plopping down on the sofa, I took some time and rubbed my aching feet. I was happy to know I was safe and sound in my cozy home. It was the most frightening experience of my life.
I was sitting in my chair to the left and I was shaking, so well done to Little. That would have been Gabrielle Felix of New Guyana School, Best Narrative. We will have a special presentation of some laptops to the top 10 performers of this year's 2021 NGSA students. It was a donation by Digital Technology, and so I will call the names of the top 10 students, and once you're here, the Honorable Minister will do the presentation. So, we will start with Nirvana. Nirvana Wimal of Success Elementary, please come forward. It will be handed over by the representative of Digital Technology. Next, we will have Paris Timmerman, and Dija Dat. Paris Timmerman and Dija Dat. Jada Prasad next. And we have 6 persons tied for the 5th position. Aditi Joshi, Joshua MacArthur, Shabaka Israel, Jekyll White, Jekyll White, then we have Kevin Sandy, Chelsea Prasad. All right, so 15 computers were donated, 4 of which will be donated to students of the hinterland regions. I want to thank you so much for that contribution, digital technology. At this time, we are going to have a question and answer session. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be handing you over to the moderator for this segment, the PR of the Ministry of Education. Please welcome Mr. Morton Haley to take us from here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Protocols established and observed. I will now take you through the question and answer segment of this event. We will invite questions from members of the press regarding today's results, announcement of today's results. I ask that the mics be turned on to allow our colleagues to pose their questions. Okay, so as you're accustomed doing, you state your name along with the media house entity that you represent and you pose your question. Kindly raise your hand to indicate if you have a question to ask. Go ahead.
It's still loading. Give it a second. Oh, it's up, it's up. Good morning, Vishani Raghavar from the newsroom. Just a few questions to start me off. First of all, are you able to provide the overall performance of hinterland schools? That's one. And also, do you have a breakdown in terms of the students from the private and public schools in terms of pass rates from those two schools? And thirdly, Minister, during your presentation, you said we will see some changes in secondary education that will mean that you're not a failure if you don't get into a top school. Could you elaborate on what those changes are?
Right, so it would be hard, Vishani, to elaborate on what the changes are. They would be many, they would be multifaceted, they would be individualized. For example, as it stands right now, children who go to primary tops have nowhere to go after grade 9. So we take them to grade 9 and then we just say goodbye and we leave them on their own. That has to change. There's a vigorous effort to make sure we can cater to those children in the various regions wherever they are, and that will mean doing different things in different regions. Let me say also that we have also not spoken enough in the Ministry of Education, even before I left the last time, and definitely not during my absence, and I don't believe we've done it in this last year, and that is our failing, one that we must correct. We have not spoken enough of how the non-top schools do, because they do very well. So the List A and List B schools, when you look at the percentage pass of students who matriculate from those schools, it's actually very, very high. But because we have always promoted the top schools, you end up having, more by omission, you end up having a stigma for schools that are not the top schools, and that would not reflect the reality of how those schools perform. That is not to say that we don't think we can do more there. Some more specialization, some more subject introduction, some more guidance to students. Are you going to just drop everybody into a 12 subject stream when you know fully well that 4 of those subjects are their poorest and they're never going to make it? Or could we individualize the combinations better? We are improving and have begun a different kind of monitoring. We used to call it MURD. It's now the inspectorate, but it's a different kind of inspectorate. It's not just the collection of records. It's more, here is where you may be weak. Here is the pathway to getting stronger. And here is how we're going to hold your hand through that process. So it's a numerous other things. Wakenham Island Secondary, for the first time in the history of the school, is going to offer the single sciences. And that is because we built a place where a science teacher could go on the island and live there and teach students. So the first time in the history we're offering single sciences at that school. That means that students don't have to either don't do the single sciences or leave their home in Wakenham, Region 3, and go on board and lodge in Anna Regina. Small things like that, or it sounds small to you, are very, very impactful in how we can deliver education. We are moving, before next year, you're going to see CAPE introduced to about 7 more schools in this country, where people you either have to stop at CSEC or come to Queen's College or Bishop's. Those are some of the improvements. We're looking at a physical plant. I was shocked myself when I was walking around some of these schools as to how shabby they had become. So the physical plant, improving that, making sure we have more trained teachers. So while we have seen untrained teachers do fantastic work, I see one here with us this morning, Mr. Success. Mr. Success? Here? Right, I wasn't sure with the mask. Untrained, and always coming here to celebrate marvelous remarks, grades, you are more likely to get more from a trained teacher in front of the classroom. And so we have just expanded the Teachers Training College by going online. So ordinarily, where we would accept 535 students, we now have 3,100 and something students, 6 times the number we would have had before. And so 4 years from now, when other countries, because of COVID, would be wondering about where they'll get teachers, we'll actually be improving on the numbers, increasing by 5 times the numbers of teachers we can produce. That would mean more teachers in the classroom, as well as more teachers. So the girl from Rupenau, Aisha, ought not to have, the children after her ought not to have that problem where they have to leave their village and go somewhere else to get a trained teacher, the benefit of a trained teacher. So it's a whole range of things to improve secondary education. We have a draft document that we will make public shortly, but it would be very difficult to tell you in one sentence what all of those are. The other 2 questions you asked about a comparison between private and public, we'd be happy to do that and give it to you later on. We don't usually like to have and hold on to results too long, because then you have slips, or you could have people posting results before we actually announce them, which is extremely poor and uncivilized. But so we try to announce right away, which means we don't have all the analysis that we'd like to have. And hinterland versus coastland, yes, we have to do that also. But I suspect in this COVID year, where much happened online, you'll see some disparities. As you heard from the numbers, while a certain number registered for the exam, only a certain number took it. So we have had what Dr. Manning called very diplomatically yesterday absentees, and they are absentees. What we have to make sure is that they don't become dropouts. So we have to go find them and make sure we get them back into the system and engage them in a way that is appropriate for each and every one of them.
Just 2 quick follow-up questions. In terms of the pupils who registered but were absent, could you say if perhaps most of them were from the hinterland and rural communities, or if they were spread out across Guyana? That's 1. And 2, and you mentioned that a few more schools, 7 more schools will introduce CAPE. Could you say what those schools are?
I think I said at least 7 is what we were looking at. I can tell you some of them. West Demerara in Port Join, Anna Regina, Chandy Singh, JC Chandy Singh. Those are 3 so far, and some more around. including around Georgetown.
Thank you very much, Minister. Do we
So,
have...
the other question on the 500 children, 559 children.
Where are they from? Spread out. Spread out. We didn't see any particular.
Do we have any other question coming from the press? I see no hands going up. I will take that as a no. At this point, I would like to bring the question and answer segment to a close, and I hand the program back over to Mr. D'Souza. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mortland Haley, Public Relations Officer within the Ministry of Education. To bring the curtains down on today's activity, today's ceremony, I would like to invite an individual to give us a vote of thanks. This individual is what I see as a subject specialist, a science specialist, to say the least. A senior education officer, she would have started within the Ministry of Education as that portfolio. She has been a REDO, PEO, and currently she is acting as Deputy Chief Education Officer for Development. Please welcome Ms. Valaika Jaikishun.
Moderator, Honorable Premanichan, Minister of Education, Dr. Wayne Wesley, Registrar of the Caribbean Examinations Council, Dr. Nicole Manning, Director of Operations of the Caribbean Examinations Council, Mr. Alfred King, Permanent Secretary, Dr. Marcel Hudson, Chief Education Officer, Ms. Saudia Kadir Grant, Superintendent of Examinations and Local Registrar, Mr. Amir Ali, Assistant Chief Education Officer for Examinations, Chief Planning Officer, Ms. Nicola Johnson, and all other officers within the Ministry of Education, parents, students, members of the media, good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to draw the curtain on this prestigious and historic event today in saying a big thanks to all who participated and would have made a significant contribution to make this event a reality. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, such an event cannot happen overnight. It requires immense planning and diligence. We have been fortunate enough to be supported by a team of dedicated and motivated individuals, and more so, very proficient and results-oriented. As we are on results, today is the most important and remarkable day in the lives of our little ones, who we are celebrating today after years of hard work, late nights, combined with this pandemic that is more challenging. We salute you for your perseverance. No other group of students in living memory would have experienced such difficult times in their school lives. You would agree with me. We want to express our gratitude to the Honorable Minister of Education, who is always available and willing to extend more than a helping hand to the pupils and to enhance the education process across all facets of the entire education system in our country. Special thanks to our Permanent Secretary and our Chief Education Officer for your astute leadership. to Sir Hilary Beckles, Chairman of the Caribbean Examinations Council, together with the entire CXC family of knowledgeable and dedicated staff, we really appreciate your contribution and experience. I believe that the experiences we have gained this time around are tremendously fruitful to our local experts who would have worked along with you. Special mentions must be made to Doctors Wayne Wesley, Nicole Manning, Mr. Teddy Rajan, and Mr. Anthony for being patient with us during this process. To NDMA and CXC Chief Examiners, Deputy Chief Examiners, Examiners, and Assistant Chief Examiners, thanks for your hard work. Special thanks to Mr. Ali and staff, Mr. Sodia Grant and her staff for planning and executing the National Grade 6 examination smoothly. Special thanks to Ms. Anisha Mohammed, Coordinator of the Guyana Learning Channel, Mrs. Lauren Barker King, Coordinator of Allied Arts, for giving us a well-decorated and comfortable venue. Members of the MIS unit, we do appreciate your skills for streaming this event live across Guyana and beyond. Also, thanks to one of our most important stakeholders who constantly support us in all our endeavors, the media fraternity, a big thank you. To all the parents who took time off from your busy schedule to join us here or virtually to celebrate your children's achievement, you're indeed a tower of strength. Special thanks. Special thanks also to Mr. Logan Simpson and Ms. Aisha for entertaining us. Last but not least, I wish to express our deepest appreciation for the two most important group of individuals that we hold close to our hearts and the reason why we are here. Those are our teachers and our pupils who will transition to a higher level of learning. The teachers, we thank you for your commitment and sacrifice that you have made during this time. Remember, we are in different times now. We are experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic. Our pupils and teachers, you have made us proud. We salute you and we thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for taking us on this historic journey. Thanks all, and remember to be safe. God bless you.
Thank you, Ms. Valaika Jaikishun. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the conclusion of today's proceedings. I pray that you continue to be safe. I wish travel mercies on all the folks who will be returning to the various regions today and tomorrow. To all you wonderful people for being here, I want you to go safely, walk with God. I'm Marty De Souza, the CEO, Marine and Hinterland Education Development, saying goodbye for now. Do take care.